All right. Thank you so much, Paul. It's an honor to be here with you guys today, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk about our experience. I refer to it as one of the most horrible but rewarding experiences, I guess, that I've ever been through. And here in with TDOT, we learned so much about how important partnership is and communication and things like that are with any kind of major incident. So this was a huge learning experience, and we're still reaping a lot of rewards from it today. So we all grown quite a bit. Uh, Slide, please. Yes, today I'll talk a little bit about our fracture that we had on the Hernando de Soto I-40 bridge that crosses over the Mississippi, which is the one of our major interstates through the country, I-40. Next slide, please. So a little bit about Tennessee. Of course, the bridge we'll be talking about is located in West Tennessee. We kind of refer to ourselves as the West Coast of Tennessee, with the Mississippi kind of our boundary there into Arkansas and Missouri. We've got a little under 20,000 bridges in the state of Tennessee, across the state, and most of those, we have a little over 6,000 in West Tennessee. So we've definitely got our fair share. We have three structures that cross the Mississippi River. One north that crosses into Missouri, and then two located in Memphis. And we have joint ownership with those, of course, with those states. So we have agreements in place that help us manage it, manage who does what, who administrates contracts, who does repair, and things like that. So it's very well defined. And we have great partnership with them, especially through the closure. We really grew our relationship. Next slide, please. Okay, the fracture itself was discovered back in May of 21, and you can see it. It kind of gives it some scale, since there's some people down kind of walking around it there, and kind of making some assessments there, but you can see the scale of what we're talking about. It was a box beam actually that fractured, and I think only one side was completely intact. But major concerns are the inspector was out actually inspecting the truss section of the bridge, and just happened to see the fracture, and actually called 911 and then called me directly. So and I told him, his name is Fred, and I told him the other day, I talked to him, I said, anytime my phone rings and the name Fred pops up, I'm answering it. I don't care what's going on, because you definitely got my attention that day, Fred. So we did put in measures to close the bridge immediately to traffic, and communication with locals, with Arkansas. I mean, it was a kind of a governor to governor, commissioner to commissioner. Those kind of conversations took place, and then lots of planning. Lots of playbooks were pulled off the shelf to kind of see, step by step, kind of what would help us, and then just trying to be as transparent as we could, and kind of move this. But of course, the one thing we wanted to do is to evaluate, what kind of condition the bridge was in from a global stability standpoint, and then try to get some things in place to make some repairs. So the closure and the fracture was discovered on May the 11th. The bridge was closed. We, our TDOT, our headquarters construction division, had an agreement, kind of a scope of work in place to advertise to contractors, select contractors that were capable of doing this kind of work by the 14th. And then we had it awarded on May the 17th. So I think that was, I think it was discovered on Tuesday, and we had a contract awarded by the next Monday, I believe. And TIM Strategies definitely played an important role in this. We work with so many emergency management services, and different ones. Our deter, one big thing before I forget it, one big thing we did, and with TDOT we have help trucks. I think they have Heroes in Atlanta trucks that support, traffic control. They support motorists and things like that. So we did, everybody had to cross that bridge. You seen the drawing there. We've got two major crossings in Memphis here across the river. So naturally, that other bridge crossing was going to really have ramped up traffic. So we did post help trucks on that bridge or at the foot of that bridge 24/7 throughout the duration of this closure, which was an extended period of time. So next slide, please. We talk about traffic a lot, but this also affected the river traffic. So we were continually communicating with Coast Guard and trying to evaluate the bridge. Like I said, on a global we were considering wind forces and all these different things come into play, and barges were stacked up on the riverbanks for sure. We had a lot of fuel and just all kind of products, freight stored on the river, and a lot of pressure put on Coast Guard, and so and we did everything we could to get the bridge stable, to get the river traffic open back up as well. So this bridge, diverting 60,000 cars a day is a humongous undertaking there, which did start out initially, had some 3-hour delays on our detour. And we view this as a national impact, working closely with FHWA and several partners. We looked at contact, working with a lot of freight organizations and different groups to establish, kind of national type detours instead of just through the Mid-South, to avoid that. If you go from this I-40 bridge is a 6-lane structure. Our other bridge is what we refer to as the old bridge in Memphis. It's a 4-lane structure with limited shoulders and things like that. So we tried to work with everybody we could to take a larger type detour than just another road through Memphis. But you can see there $2.5 million impact to the trucking industry a day. That's huge. So as far as river traffic itself, I don't even know how they can come up with accurate numbers there, but it is a very busy river with lots of freight coming up and down the river, and like it says there, $9.2 billion supported, just by the port there in Memphis. So it's a huge impact. Next slide, please. So one of our first things to do, we are very well established here in the city of Memphis, and with ITS, DMS boards, cameras, we are fairly modernized here and update things continuously and keep contracts going continuously to update and maintain our system. So we definitely utilize that. And we have systems that run into Arkansas as well. So we have TDOT boards and cameras in Arkansas. So we used those to their maximum capacity to help spread that on a more localized level. But definitely so many great partnering agencies, the city of Memphis, chamber, just local business owners, trucking industries, Arkansas, Mississippi, FHWA, emergency management service. So many good organizations, and really good. We kind of took the lead in setting up kind of communication and gathering to see, and everybody come to the table wanting to know how they could help. There was no blame. There was nobody trying to outdo everybody. they all knew that we had to get our oars in the water at the same time and pull them in the same direction. So I was very proud of that. Next slide, please. So this is kind of a look at our detour. Memphis has a southern loop 240, and the northern part of the loop is 40. And we tried to do several things to keep traffic flowing as quickly as possible. About 10 years ago, if you can see the screen, that Crump interchange, there's a circle there. That is probably the biggest bottleneck on any interstate that we've seen in the state of Tennessee anyway. And we've been trying to get a project let to correct that. We're actually using a cloverleaf ramp as part of the interstate there. We do have it 2 lanes in one direction and 1 lane in the other direction. At the time of this I-40 closure, now we have a project underway to make improvements to that interchange. But you can see that traffic having to make a turn like that and trucks on an inclined cloverleaf ramp is really that's what give us our our 3-hour delays and things like that. So we did make several changes to help improve that by the time we're complete. And I think we'll look at that in future slides here. Next slide, please. So as I described, northbound, the detour itself is Interstate I-55, having 2 lanes of traffic going northbound into Arkansas using that cloverleaf style ramp, and then 1 southbound lane on a pretty sharp ramp itself. So not an ideal situation for an interstate detour, not an ideal situation for a functioning interstate, but we did make several modifications. Like I said, TDOT took the lead in pulling every partner together that several were invited and always welcome to attend a daily meeting where we reviewed traffic data. We reviewed a lot of stuff with the city of Memphis. The impact of the local streets around the area was also impacted. We did end up closing a lot of ramps off I-55 just to help eliminate some points that could cause conflict. And then our forces went in. Oh, I was proud of them. They come in on one Sunday morning and widened that 1 lane southbound ramp to 2 lanes. So that helped a whole lot. And then some of the things we actually were pretty innovative. We had a lot of sharp people attend our meeting, a lot of thinking outside the box by FHWA and several of our traffic engineers that come up with a lot of things like setting up, working with Waze or Google to set up some kind of virtual closures, and that way trucks weren't led down certain roads and things like that. And that was a continually kind of monitoring situation. Next slide, please. This will give you some idea if this is legible on your screen there, but the green line at the bottom there kind of shows the pre-closure travel times, and then the red indicates at the time of the closure kind of what was taking place there. So you can see some 70-minute travel times there very easily. And kind of what you can see where Saturdays and Sundays fall and things like that. Next slide, please. And then we kind of get into these and we shared this weekly on our web, and we had newsletter go out to media and different partners like the chambers and both Arkansas and Tennessee to kind of make sure everybody was aware of kind of what was going on, and tried to really ramp up our outreach here. We work really closely with Arkansas to help them make some improvements on their end and our end, just to make continual flow all the way through both states here at the Mississippi River. So you can see the red here, and that's not good. That's not a good sign. But as we progress through, there's a couple of slides here. If you'll forward, please. You can kind of see some reductions occur, and this is on July the 4th. So, you can kind of see some reduction in the red occur, and we were trying to, we tweaked something about every 2 or 3 days. We found some kind of little change that we could make. So we were really ramping up what we had have been taught and met as groups and studied TISMO and the different ways that we can make little adjustments, low-hanging fruit and things like that we could do, adding that lane in and changing signage up, and use of our message boards and different things like that. And so I think, and drivers adapt to different travel times as well to help decrease this. Next slide, please. So you can see it fluctuates up and down a whole lot, just depending on the time of the year and kind of what's going on. We did lots of traffic studies and pulled data from several different areas. Next slide, please. And I think, we're at the end of July here, and I wouldn't say got things perfected, but we knew it become predictable after a while, and we had tweaked and made smaller changes. You could see incremental, smaller improvements in the travel times there. Next slide, please. So the impact to the local, the city streets was great as well. Especially we've put all of I-40 traffic on I-55, and they've got a bottleneck and a cloverleaf ramp. So they will a lot of times, spread like wildfire out away from, those 70-minute travel times and the queuing to try to find some different way to go somewhere. So we worked really closely with the city of Memphis and their traffic division to close some things down and adjust signal timings and put up some message boards around town to kind of help do this. We're still working through, a lot of major events, NBA games, and Memphis, has a lot going on at certain times. So have to be aware of that. And I think we ended up developing a calendar with major events on it and, keeping that as a reference guide. So that was a good pickup for that. Next slide, please. The outreach, our public relations division worked overtime continuously to try to keep everybody aware of kind of what was going on. We share the traffic data. We share progress of the repair process itself with business owners. And I've always said, bad news isn't always encouraging, or you don't get a positive response, but just the fact of people knowing things makes a world of difference. Even though it's not the best, at least they know, and there's no surprises. So next slide, please. A little bit about the repair, just a slide or two. The repair process was, of course, we broke it up into 3 phases. I talked a little bit about global stability earlier, and that's just something to make sure it's stable to get on and work on, and put plates on to beef up that box that was fractured. Second phase was actually installing large hydraulic jacks and 3-inch rods to take tension off the fractured member, the fractured box, and add the steel. And then phase 3 was just adding some more support, and then loading the bridge up with sensors and testing it, how it reacted to loading once that was complete. Next slide, please. I don't know if that video, it did play. So our maintenance guys got to play a hand in it as well. They were tickled to death to do that. So they brought in loaded dump trucks and would run them at different speeds in echelon and different paired up in different ways. So we could check the bridge and at different locations how it was responding to loading. So that was pretty neat. Next slide, please. So takeaways, definitely collaboration, being as transparent as possible, bringing in every good partner, trying to keep a good attitude all the way through it and be positive. I think we had a lot of good leadership. People step up and take ask what they could do to help. And just that day, it was a daily drive to get that. We did use CMGC. If you've heard of that's a contracting method that we use to repair the bridge. It's not always the cheapest way to go, but given the time factor here, we need to get the bridge open as quick as possible. So that's what we use there. Fracture discovered on May the 11th. Damage repaired in 84 days, which was a couple weeks ahead of schedule. Lots of press. I think we had the secretary come in and visit with us while it was down. Took advantage of the downtime to make some repairs on I-40, and I think that will wrap it up for me. Is that the last slide? Yeah. I really am grateful for the opportunity to talk about the project. I hope it was of some interest to you guys. And we love to talk about our projects at TDOT, the good ones and the not so good ones, and we all got takeaways from it.
Hey, thank you, Michael. I really appreciate it. There's a lot goes on there. Just by a little personal memories, my flashback of my childhood. My father was a bridge inspector in Massachusetts, and he actually shut down a bridge in Boston once. His bosses weren't listening to him, and after the third or fourth inspection, he got someone's attention, and they quickly closed it down and caused a big mess in Boston. I don't know the details. I was a kid, but I couldn't help think of my father back then, and what must have been involved. I was remiss in reading Michael's short bio, so I'm going to do that and then introduce Dan by reading his bio. So Michael is a professional engineer with the Tennessee Department of Transportation since 1993. He started out in the construction office, and today he serves as Director of Operations for West Tennessee, overseeing construction, maintenance, materials and testing, traffic operations, as well as Memphis TMC and the HELP program. He holds a BSCE from the University of Memphis and an MSCE from University of Tennessee in Knoxville. So sorry about not introducing